It is Monday, February 10th, 2020, coming to you from Laughlin, Nevada, out here taking care of some business. Wanted to make a quick video today. Just had a lot to do today, a lot of traveling, and so I have not been able to keep up to the second with the news that's been transpiring globally, financially, socially, everything that's taking place. Locusts invading Africa, earthquakes around the world, uprisings, war, infections, you name it, it is happening. Are we seeing biblical events taking place right now here in the world? Many would probably say, yes, we are. And I'll tell you, shocking when I read this article today with the president of China, President Xi, warns, prepare for long and grim battle. So he is now out in public wearing a mask. He made this announcement publicly wearing a mask today, and it's amazing that this has not already shocked the markets. But I think we're at a point now here where the markets almost like the bad news, because they know the central banks are going to jump in and inject billions and billions and billions of dollars with all this bad news. The market is not afraid of infections. It's not afraid of earthquakes. It's not afraid of a depressed economy. It's not afraid of bad news, as long as it has the Fed in its corner injecting billions of dollars whenever the first sign of trouble arises. And so I looked at the futures. They're about flat right now. And we see the market, I think it was up around, Dow Jones was up around 175 points today. Everything that's going on, factories closing, supply chains breaking, global economy coming to a standstill, and the Dow Jones closes up 175 points. These markets are in record territory. They don't care. And this is going to be a very interesting time coming to America, because at some point, I believe the markets are going to have to care when the supplies don't get here, when the parts and goods don't get here, when the Walmart shelves can't be filled. We know that food shortages are coming. We know that the farmers had a dismal year. People are writing me daily telling me the price of food at their stores, the price of canned vegetables at their store. And look, I see it on a weekly basis myself. You know, when I go to the grocery store, food is going to get more expensive. Goods and products are going to get more expensive. They can paper over this economy all they want. They can paper up the stock market all they want. But sooner or later, the average Joe, when he goes to the store, realizes that either it's not there or he's going to pay a lot more to get it. The pharmaceutical situation now, knowing that 80-90% of our pharmaceuticals are coming from China, what happens when the supply breaks down and you have to pay 2, 3, 4, 10 times more than normal because you're going to have to outsource to some other country, or you're going to have to buy it here in America, where generic drugs, 80-90% of these generic drugs are all coming in from China, and most people opt out and go to the generic drugs because they're discounted. What happens when those discounts are no longer available because those drugs are not coming over to America? You know, this is the sad truth. When a country is self-reliant on other countries for its pharmaceuticals, for goods and materials and products, when we're dependent even on China, we even buy steel from China. We used to be the king of steel. Most of our steel mills have shut down. We still buy steel from China. This is the sad truth, that when we are reliant on other countries such as China for materials, for pharmaceuticals, when there is a breakdown, now what? What's going to happen? I think we're going to find out a lot about how serious this whole situation in China is. I think we're going to find out in the next 30 days. And from all accounts, from what I'm reading, this thing is not going away. In fact, it's getting more intense. Media now is starting to admit there's a problem. The president of China coming out and admitting that there's a big problem. They have an epic battle on their hands now. What does this mean for you and I? I believe that these markets, sooner or later, the Fed is no longer going to be able to paper over what is happening with printed money. Reality at some point is going to come to these markets. I don't know if that's going to happen because of this, but I believe there's a very strong possibility that we're going to see some real problems here because of this situation in China. Again, the Fed can print all they want, and you know what? They can push and force this stock market to surge even higher on the situation that's taking place, but it's not going to matter because people are going to see fear, anxiety, uncertainty. They're going to be worried about their own health. They're going to be worried about their futures, and they're going to worry about what it's going to take to stop what is happening over in China. Again, supply chains breaking, the manufacturing over there, factories shutting down. They've got a pig Ebola situation over there. They got a bird virus situation over there. A lot of problems. Their poultry is dying off because they cannot feed it. They cannot get into the cities to feed it. And to think that none of this is going to affect America, I think anybody that thinks that is sadly mistaken. Stock market can do whatever it's going to do, but sooner or later, when the parts and products don't get here, when the shelves at Walmart can't be supplied, there's going to be big problems. And remember, many of these American companies are building cars over there and products and goods. And if they can't ship those back, what happens to these companies? What if Apple cannot ship products back to America? What if Nike can't ship products back to America? What happens? So very uncharted waters here. We're going to see how it all plays out, but just ask yourself, who thought that 2020 was going to be like this? We're just in February, and look at what is already happening. Again, locusts eating everything, eating all the crops in Africa, bats in Australia, millions of bats. People they're closing cities down because of bats everywhere. We've got earthquakes everywhere. We've had the fires in Australia. We had the tensions in Iraq with Iran. We just had so much already happening. I do believe that we're going to see a financial shaking taking place here in America in 2020. Whether that's the beginning of something much bigger or it's just going to be the cracks getting deeper and wider, I don't know. But I think we're going to see some financial trouble at least starting here in 2020. Please comment down below. I'd love to know what you think. Are we going to see some financial problems here in America in 2020 before the election, or is it going to happen after the election? I do believe we're going to see some serious problems financially here in 2020 before the election. Again, I'm not a fortune reader or a prophet, but I'm just going on my gut, kind of connecting the dots. And let's face it, if the Fed, right here, you can look this up for yourself. This is the Federal Reserve Bank of New York this morning, right here. Guess what they did? The Fed injected another $38 billion into the markets this morning, okay? So I guess that's what it needs to do to prop up the stock market, at least the Dow Jones, up to 175 points today. So if you don't believe me, if you believe things are really that good, why don't you pull this up today? It says right here, Federal Reserve Bank of New York, down here, circled, $38 billion and change. This is what they had to juice the markets with just this morning to keep everything going. They are fighting this infection with printed money, okay? It's unbelievable. It's 2020. Things are going to get even more crazy than they are now. So as 2020 progresses into a year that I think we're never going to forget, it is starting out bananas. CNBC today, check this out yourself, CNBC. 1 in 3 Americans, that is 91 million people, say that they're afraid that they will max out their credit card when and if making a large purchase. And in this article, it says a large purchase is $100 or more. So, today $100 is nothing. $200 is nothing. That's basically, just think. Many people would be maxed out if they got a flat tire today. Okay, that's CNBC this morning. If you get a flat tire, 33% of the people in this country, 91 million people, are maxed out if they get a flat tire today. Think about that. So what we know is taking place all over the world right now. We know a global slowdown is in effect. We know all about what's happening, the situation in China. We know that very tough times are coming to America. Think about how unprepared the masses are when over a third of this country is maxed out if they get a flat tire. It's scary to think that. These are the people who have no food put away, no cash put away, no water put away, no assets put away. They are absolutely unprepared, and they're going to be left in the dust when this thing hits. 35% of cardholders are starting 2020 with more credit card debt than they had in 2019. So again, I'm confused with this contradiction that everything is booming in this economy. If everything is booming, how come nobody's paying any debt down? All people are doing is acquiring debt. I don't get it. Fewer card holders are paying their monthly balance in full. You would think if people were making more money today, they would be paying their balances off. Credit card rates are at record highs, on average 17%. So remember, the banks are getting the money at the very top for dirt cheap, literally nothing. They are not passing the savings on to you. They're making record profits on the debt slaves, on the back of the American consumer who's using credit cards, charging them the highest rates in history while they're borrowing money at the lowest rates in history. 43% have been carrying a credit card balance for 2+ years. Average households with credit card debt owe over $16,000. Average households with credit card debt are paying $1,292 of interest a year. The banks are robbing people today. There is no doubt. I think anybody who can put two sentences together can see clear as day that the banks are robbing the American consumer. Yeah, there's no doubt that there are consumers, many consumers out there living way beyond their means, buying stuff that they don't need, buying stuff to impress people like you and I on social media, buying stuff to impress people they don't know. Yeah, but the banks are robbing the American people, no doubt. And the banks are causing the recessions, they're causing the depressions. Then it's the central bank who's going to ride in on their white horse and say, we're here to save you. We're going to print more money, devalue your currency even more. But I have a feeling this time it's not going to work. And it's going to send the US economy and the global economy spiraling out of control. The point I'm trying to get to here is when you look and read all this data, the 1% in these markets, the bankers, the elite, the super wealthy, they're getting out of these markets and they're going to make sure they're out before they collapse. And the 1% who created these problems are going to be long gone. They're going to hold the assets. They have the money. They own the real estate. They own the properties, the farms, the bug out shelters, the islands. They have the private security. It's going to be the 99% who have nothing, who are going to be wiped out, don't have any money, don't have the assets, don't have private security, don't have a bunker to run to, don't have an island to run to, don't have a private jet to get on and fly to their remote island or bunker in another country. It's going to be the 99% who pay the price for the 1%. And when I read these numbers of Americans who are just debt slaves, who continue to live off of credit cards, who continue to buy things that they don't need, who continue to take these financial risks, just all this irresponsibility financially. If you're one of these people, you better do something immediately because there is a financial tsunami coming to America. Anybody who cannot see what is happening is in pure denial, and you're really setting yourself up for extreme trouble. most people watching this, probably 98% of the people, 98.5% of the people watching this video today, you get it, you understand. And look, we're going to see social, political, and financial uncertainty in 2020. And now we have a situation brewing in China that is expanding across the globe that is, we don't know what it means. I pray to God this gets contained, but at this point it's starting to get out of control. When their president and now the media, watching a little bit of Fox Business this morning, talking and actually admitting that this may be a little bit more serious than first anticipated. That's a warning sign right there that they're no longer able to hide what is happening. So the people out there that are just unprepared for what is coming, I mean, just think, with all this uncertainty, all the dangers out there, what the average American, the situation they're going to be in when this whole thing breaks loose. All I can say, coming to you from beautiful Laughlin, Nevada, where I see people running out, people are drinking, they're gambling, not a care in the world. The masses. It does not give me any encouragement seeing what I see with the general public here in America. They are so unprepared for what is coming. I'm going to leave it there today. I just wanted to check in, say hi to everybody, and just kind of update you and just express a little bit out loud with you what I see happening right now and what is coming. God bless you guys. Talk to you very soon.